Good morning, traders. Welcome to our trading room. It's Monday morning. We're all here, and it's a wonderful Monday morning. To my YouTube viewers, I want to apologize for the people who signed up for your 1 week free or your free access to the end of January. There's still 3 days remaining. You can still join it. For those of you who haven't signed up but would like to sign up, you can still sign up. There are 3 days there. Last week, I was sick the entire week. So for those who signed up on Monday and the week before, you missed a lot of access to live session that I promised. So today we will work on something to give you that extra week in February. So don't be despaired. We will still make sure that you get access to the live trading room at least for a week more so that you could make your decision whether what we do here is good for you. All right, that's the whole basic thing. Giving you free access so you can make the decision if this is what you want, if this is going to help your trading. If it's not helping your trading, then, I mean, no big deal. But if it does help your trading, then this is something you may want to continue, right? For those of you who haven't joined or haven't seen my webinar or seeing this webinar for the first time about it, you need to send me a Skype message. Let me type my Skype here because it's in the description. But I can type it here so you get it immediately. It's MANGAL 457. Send me a message with your full name and your email you would like to use. We will create a profile for you and we will give you access to the London and New York sessions we do live. You will also have the daily webinar recording that we do. So if you miss any of the live session, you will still get the recording to work with, right? This will go till the end of January. Now, we're working on something to help get it into the mid-February or so for those traders who missed out a lot. And if you sign up now, you might be part of that group that gets to stay with us till mid-February. After that, if you do wish to join us, there are two ways you can do. You can become a full member, or you can join the subscription. The installment, which means you will pay only until you meet the full payment and then you stop paying and you have lifetime access. Now, I'm not very good at explaining this because every time I explain it, I still get a lot of questions. Hey, what is your group? What do you guys do in there and all of that? So join, make it easy. Just join. It's free. You will have 3 days to make your decision what we do in here, and then all your questions will be answered. Right? With that said, let's move on. Let's go to do the real thing we need to do. Let's trade. So, disclaimer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, based on wave analysis, where we think the chart is going to go today, within the next couple hours, and possible within the week. I would do some charts in details, and some charts I'm just going to go through really quick. I'm going to do all the majors. I'm going to do some of the indices. I'm going to do some other cryptocurrencies. And then if you would like the entire list, join for free and you will get the entire list. Because when we are in the trading room, like we are right now, we will do everything if I'm not recording it for YouTube. We will go through the entire list you see here, right? And there's some at the bottom here that we don't do on a regular basis, but every now and then somebody would ask me about one of these. That's the only reason it's here, right? Because all of this, somebody in the group is trading. And we would look at them once in a while, once a day, maybe once a week, depending on how the trader is trading it, if he's investing or he's spot trading. So let's start with the dollar index. I'm going to try to do this in details. From last week, nothing much changed. I was sick on Tuesday, and this was the last trade we had when I was sick, the buy for that, and I think we're still back at square one. We are right here. So the market didn't leave me anywhere. It just came right back to where I wanted. Now what we're doing here is seeing a bigger consolidation. I can say that this is probably making more of a bigger consolidation here, and it looks like we might end up with a flat like this. I don't think it's dropping because we came back to the top. So that means if we get a flat here, we're still going up, right? It still looks upside. Now, the only question you'd ask, is that upside to come and break this top? Or is that just a short-term upside before we retest this low and then go? That's right now, it doesn't look like we're trying to retest this low, right? It looks like this is just a consolidation here that is going to complete itself and then keep going all the way to the top here. Maybe there are going to be more of those consolidations, and then we end up going to the top. But we're trying to get back to this top. So if you remember from last week when we had this, that's exactly what we thought it's going to do. It's going to continue to go up there. And then we're going to be stuck with this. And if you get a flat as big as that, the high probability is you're going to go down. Right? Now, this might not be what happens. This at the moment is what we think could happen. Now, you may say, well, what's the whole point if that is not, that might not be what happens? Well, it doesn't matter what happens. We will see the structural change. So let's say this is to give us a sharp move up like this, but then actually reverse back and instead start to do this. Right? Let's say we end up with something like this after. Instead of going to the top, it ends up doing this. That doesn't mean wave analysis doesn't work. It means we just figure out a new pattern that is being created, a more complex one. This will still go back up, but only this time the flat is in the middle of this. So we have got to get this, this, right? We've got to get this, this, and then down. So when I'm showing you a pattern now, it's valid for a couple hours. Trades we take within the day are valid for a couple hours. After that, there could be structural change, which means we might be buying in the morning and by the afternoon we're selling the same pair and we are making money both ways. So there's no point if you're a spot trader or you're a retail trader and picking one direction, stay with it for a long time. You're just wasting your time. You're most likely going to end up losing rather than making money. Right? If you're an investor, that's a whole different story. Right? If you have the time to buy something and hold it for 5 years, then you shouldn't even be in this with me right now, right? Because we don't do that right here. So let's go back to what we're doing. Right now, we'll be looking for a buy setup. Short term, I expect this. I'm going to take this off. I expect this to come back down first. Because if we're making a flat here, then this needs to come back down first. What should happen if this breaks the top? Well, then it should still come back here before it goes, because this is the corrective part in it. If it does come back to this top here and give us a sell setup, we will consider the sell, especially if we break the top. We'll consider the sell for two reasons. One, it's a sharp move down that will be a chance for break even, should it go back up. But what if it becomes the top and this was all the consolidation here? And that was just a slow move to the top there before it drops totally. Right? So depending on how this piece here finishes, the middle here finishes, and what setup we have at it, whether we get the setup at the top here, whether we get the setup here, would depend whether we even take a trade on this today. So right now, I would say let it come back to the bottom and then we look for the buy. That's the most immediate thing that I think is likely going to happen. Now let's go to all the other pairs and see what is happening there. Yep, this was a buy. I think we're getting a buy here again. Literally, this is making a buy setup. So how do we buy that? The problem is if you put an entry above this stop here, take this off. If you put an entry above this stop here, it can tag you and still come back here. So we can do one of two things. We can wait for it to break the top, make a small flag, and then take it. Or you can take the risk of taking it above this top, allow it to tag you, allow it to come back, and then wait for it to go. Put a stop here, should it not go. Now, I think there's a very high probability it's going to go, but it might be better to wait for a flag, right? Because this is a really big one. Wait for a flag. Should this come down back from this point and retest the low? Should it come down back and retest the low like this? Did it come back here and retest the low like this? We'll look for a buy setup here to go. Now, this one is really sharp and it doesn't have anything in the past to go with. So I believe it's part of this one, which means it's more like this. So we'll wait now. We'll see which one of those two patterns develop. One of them will. And then we'll be able to make a decision what's the next trade. Right? So the main trade is still to the upside. Now, big picture, where will that lead us? Nowhere. Just come back to this top. Right? Just likely that it could be doing this. If you make a flat here and then you go, We're likely going to do that. Complete this one. Still come back here. Right? So if we get a big flat in here, we still come back here. So there could be a buy here today or tomorrow, and then we'll be looking for sell setups. I can put we're waiting for a buy setup. Gold. Gold is a little more complex. Very similar structure, a little more complex than that. We're consolidating here. So the first trade will be a drop. We'll probably even sell it from there. This would be the sell we'll go for. It's going to go back up, definitely back up. And then it's going to drop one more. After which this should still go up. Right? The up move is still going to happen. Now, can this be the one that goes up? Possible. Very unlikely, but possible. What we'll wait for is a breakout of the top, a consolidation here, and then we'll take the trade. So as of now, the most likely trade we'll be looking for is a short on gold. So here's your question. Why do we want to short gold and we want to buy silver? And I think a few times I've done this and traders ask me that question, like, how are you doing that? It's not right, right? It's going to be one of the two. Remember, we expect this to come down here first, right? We expect it to go and come here. It's only when it come here, we'll be looking for the buy setup. So remember that first move down. And now let me go back to gold and tell you where the first move is. The first move in gold will have to be to the downside. This one coming here and then come here. This is a trade we can take before this goes back up. So the buy will come after that trade. This is not a trade we will take. If this comes here and come here, this is not a trade we will take. There's no structural setup for that trade. You notice the pattern in these two are different? Absolutely different. So this is not a trade, although I expect it to go down. The upside is a trade. The upside is much sharper. The gold will have to be the sell first and then the buy, should that happen. Right? So, like I said, if this is too complex to understand while I'm doing it, just join for free. You still have 3 days and you have probably 2 weeks in February, as long as I can set that up properly. Euro going sideways. We expected it to drop. It dropped a little more than I expect, and then it went right back up, which is what we were expecting, because I was looking for a flat here. Go back up there and then come down. It came a little lower and went a little higher. So let's say we've got two expanding flats. Perfect. Nothing's wrong with that. And then you came and you broke the low. So this would be, this will come here. And if you're putting the expanding flat, you can put it like this. That completes the pattern. I can take this off. So with two expanding flats completing it, this one drop breaking the low. It means that pattern has just completed itself. This entire piece could be over. Right? This entire piece here could be over. We could be either going back up to the top of this, the whole structure, or we could just consolidate here and keep dropping. There's a lot of divergence. And that means the probability for upside is pretty high. Now, what you want to do is you want to go to the higher time frame. And because there's still divergence even here, right? We're thinking internal divergence in this piece. If that happens, then there's a rare chance that this thing starts to channel, which means it can continue to go down, but more as a channel like this, where you still get divergence, but then eventually this goes back up. Or this right now start going back up, making a new high, and then come back here. Which one? We'll have to see. Can this actually work its way down all the way to the bottom, even though with that we have the divergence? Yeah, that's possible. I've seen that before. Is there a chance we're going to look at this pattern differently? Let's say a running flat here. Is there a possibility we're looking at that as a possible running flat and this one is going to drop? In the case of divergence, that possibility is more likely. So should this start dropping, we will go with that as a running flat. Divergence always are going to be in running flats, right? Because this is the B part coming down, so it's always going to show you divergence. And then this will drop to the bottom here. So do we have any setup whereby this could drop to the bottom? Right now, no. Absolutely none. Should this here make a flag and come here and then go back there, well, then now we have a pattern whereby this could drop to the bottom. and it might be worth selling. Worst case, remember what I said, the first pattern is going to form. Worst case, you're going to be in a channel. And if you're in a channel, break even is easy to get. So in the case of a sell setup, we will take the trade because the worst case scenario would be we're going to get a break even. The good case scenario, you get a really nice trade to the downside. So let's wait for a sell setup. For a buy setup, we don't have anything right now. There is no trade. This is pulled back. This kind of went back a little, not way to the top, but this is pulled back deep into it already. So I don't think we're going opposite. Most likely downside, but we still have to decide whether that is a running flat, drop to the bottom, or it's within the channel. So we'll just wait and see. Look for sell setups. Pound. I think this one is easier, right? We're still in here. We haven't broke out. This one actually made a more complex pattern here. So you can put it like one drop, up move, drop, up move, probably drop again to the bottom, right? We're expecting it to come and retest this low. Only this time, not this one, but this one to come and retest the low again. Take this out. And then go back up. Right? So the question would be if it takes off immediately, because this is a correction and this is a correction. Would it take off immediately all to the top, all the way there? Or would we look at this as part of the correction? We'll see that when that comes. So there might be sell setups to come here, and then we'll be looking for buy setups to the top. Do we have any sell setup right now? Not really. As a matter of fact, this might even go higher. This looks like it's going to go higher because you have this move pulling back to the top. It's also coming right back to the bottom. So the question, can we look at this as another flat here? Should this stay here, come there, and then retest this top? Could it be another flat whereby this come here? So you make a bigger correction here and then come here. We're still within the impulse, right? We haven't broken out of the top. So that possibility exists, which means if we get a flag here, we sell. If this becomes a flag here for a sell, we will take the trade. If we want a buy setup, we have to break out of this. So it has to come here first, break the low, without any flag, just come break the low and go back up, and we get a flag here to buy. So the buy is a much harder case. The sell is an easier one. We haven't got a setup for either. Not for the buy, not for the sell. But since we're still within the correction, I will keep it like this. I will keep it like this, and we'll see where this is going. Aussie? I think this is an easier one, right? We're consolidating in the middle of nowhere. Take this out. And take this out. We broke the top, right? So the idea was come here and then go break the top, which we did. So if you're thinking about this piece, we could even look at this, like this one dropped here, go back, broke the top, that completes this. You might even want to decide whether this was all one big fat flat here. That might be a case. This one is pretty sharp though. We'll still have to figure that out. It's really sharp. So we'll decide whether that is it, or are we still in some kind of a correction here? Let's say this is the top. Take this out. Let's assume this was the top. This one here was the top. And this is all part of the correction. Right? So you got a flat here. This goes back up there. Come back here. Complete this flat. And then go back up. Right? Now it will be this move up for them. So if this is the top, then we will come back here and then go one more. If that's not the top, this would become the top, and this could come down, drop to the bottom, which means this entire thing would be over. That's just a bigger correction. So we're making a bigger correction. We're not literally going anywhere. We're just correcting at the bottom here. So if you look at it, you can see that it's getting very flat for a drop. I think we've had flats like that, so I could probably just go back and show you some of those flats. Like this one, for example. See, when they started to make all that consolidation, it dropped and pulled back and dropped. Even this one, see? Continue to drop. So if you're making that flat there, it's just incomplete. Just need to wait for it to complete it. So what you want it in very simple terms, you want it to go back to that top and then look for a sell setup. But it's going to stay a while here, make a more complex pattern, complete the complex pattern, then go to the top and then drop. And the question is, if this is going to take you a day or two, can we trade within this range? So we can go into 15 minutes. Look at the range, the entire range from this one here to this. It's 68 pips. So if we get it from the bottom to go up, we'll buy. If we get it from above this top to go down, we will sell. And that is considering it stays within the range. It doesn't break out of the range, because if it breaks out of the range, that's a whole different story. We'll be looking for a big sell to the downside. I think it's going to be rare to see this go up because all the consolidation is happening at the bottom. So I'll take this out and we'll wait for this to complete what it's doing there. Can we buy and sell within this range here? I think you're not going to get much of a trade. Right? So let it either come back to this low or go back to that top, and then we'll take the trade. New Zealand. This is easy, right? You don't want it easier than that. So it's coming down. It probably will come somewhere. So this was the flat. 1, 2, 3. We kind of drop, pull back, drop. This is the lowest point. So assume that that is a pull back against it. Now this one was coming down. We were expecting it to go break the low. Right, this was coming down really nice. We're expecting to go break the low, but we made a big flat here, and this one was small. So we might be just repeating this big flat here. See this big flat here. There's 1, 2, 3. So this could be 1. This one could be the 2. Go back there for the 3, make a big flat here, and then drop. So it will be an impulse, a correction, an impulse, a correction, another impulse. Pretty simple. So let's go back here and see, can we buy this to the upside? Not from where it is. Because from where it is, you'll have to buy it above here. And to the top, it's only 28 pips. So the best thing is let this drop more, let this consolidate and drop some more here, and give us a trade from here to go, to break this top. And this becomes a good trade. So let's see if we can get it that way. If we can get it that way, we get a good trade. Right now, I don't think we have a good buy setup. You can see the divergence here. If this is going to take off, you'll have to buy it here, and it's not the best one. Like I said, 28 pips, and your stop in that case has to be under here. So your stop is going to be about 30 pips or more. We can look for a buy setup. CAD, we're looking for a buy setup here too, because this looks like a perfect flat pattern here. 1, 2, 3, and it's consolidating here. So that should go upwards. This one is an easy one. This one actually is well structured. So let's see if it goes. Anything to change here is only if this comes back to the bottom here, then we'll take off the trade, wait for it to go back up, sell it, and then look for the upside. Swiss. Okay, this was the sell the day I think I left when I got sick, and then the morning I came in, we took that trade and I couldn't come back. And it dropped, pulled back pretty deep. It's dropped, it's consolidating here, which means we're going to get one more drop, right? This is kind of consolidating here. I think this should probably give you another drop. Now, if this becomes really huge in here, we would assume that it's going to go back up and then drop again. If this start dropping now, we would assume that it could continue to drop all the way to the bottom, right? Which means the drop could be much bigger. Could it be we're trying to make a flat here for upside? Like I said, it has to drop first. And then we'll consider whether it goes back up or it's going to continue to drop. Not knowing which one it's going to do is okay. You just have to take the trade and manage. Can we get break even in a trade like this if we get a sell setup to break this low? Sure, there is no sell setup right now. So if we get a sell setup that will give us break even in case it goes back up, we'll take the trade. Or we're looking for a sell setup. Yen, look for a sell setup. I think this one is easy too. It's still within the consolidation because we have 1, 2, 3. a deep pullback, a drop, consolidation, drop, pull back, complete this one, drop again, go back up. Because if you complete all of this, the likelihood is we'll go back up. Very rare that you complete all of that and they drop all the way to the bottom. It's not impossible, but it's rare. So can we sell this here to the downside? Sure, if we get a sell setup, we take it. There isn't any good sell setup now. But should this come here, drop here, go back up there, then come back and make a flag here, this would be a good sell. If it drops through the bottom here, make a flag, that's a good sell. Wherever we get a good flag, we'll take the sell. So that is all for the majors. Let's go to some of these. Let's look at natural gas. Natural gas is consolidating, so I think we should go more down. Right, but if you sold that, get it to break even. If you wait for this to happen and go there and make another flat, we'll look for a sell setup. Right, natural gas complete a very big daily flat. See, kind of complete that daily flat there, and it's going down. So wait for a sell setup at least to break this lower, probably even a little lower. US oil. There's a 15-minute sell there for one more move down because we still haven't got this sharp move down. So we're looking at it pattern-wise like this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 for the running flat, and then 1, 2, 3. Right, so we will complete this pattern, and then there's a good chance it's going to drop. So on the 15, we do have a sell setup there. As of now, it's valid. It's still incomplete but valid. As long as this stays in this range here and consolidate there, we sell. Should it go higher, we'll take the trade off and look for a buy setup. US 30. I think this one is giving a sell setup too. Can definitely go for a sell here. If that's coming from the top. So that one is easy. Right, we did break out of this and we broke the top, and then you came down back and you're having a sell setup. Right, you can make an argument for that. So let's see. If it's going to be slow, that means we'll be in a correction from our upside. If it drops really fast, we'll go with the downside starting. S&P 500. I think we'll go up more. I think this can go up more. Let's wait for this to make a flag here and then go one more up. And let's see, we're looking for a buy setup here. Okay, well, this one is looking like this. A drop, a pullback, a drop, a pullback. We broke the low again and we're pulling back. It could be both the buy, which means, or the sell, which means it could do this, retest the top and come, or this could just stay here, consolidate and drop again. Right now, we don't have the sell setup in it. So there's a very likelihood we have a buy setup. So if this consolidates more, we can put an entry order here. A little above the top. For the next up move should it take off. Right, if this is going to continue to drop, we wait for it. There's no sell setup. Okay, let's go. Let's take a look at some of the cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin, 1 hour. Okay, this was some kind of a consolidation, so leave it. It kind of went up, make some consolidation, go back up. You're making some consolidation again. This move was relatively sharp to the downside. And I wouldn't say it's the sharpest move, but it's relatively sharp. So if you choose that as a running flat, put an entry here and a stop here. If you think it's just going to break the top and then come back down, let it break the top first and then come. But if you put an entry order, you can get out for break even. So I think the buy is still good. Can this be the one to take off like a rocket to the top there? Very unlikely that this is all the correction. It's more likely that if they're going to do that, they'll probably do this. Come back here and then go. Right, which means if we're still consolidating for upside, this would be the B part for me. But look for buy setups. ETH, look for sell setups. XRP. Okay, it dropped, it broke the low. That's all we want. This was the sell, take it off. You wanted it to break this low, it broke the low. So what's next? The next move is upside, right? Once we broke that low, there's a very good chance now that this goes back up to the top there. That would complete this pattern. So look for a buy setup here to go back to the top. Let's see if we have that. Yep, we do have a buy setup here. So I've got a buy setup there. This one is a buy. ADA. This one also came down, even came down lower because we had a sharp move here and it did go lower. So this up move is really, really slow. This is very, very slow. Even if it keeps going up, it's too slow to buy. But can it drop one more? Yeah, we can still go down and more downside than this. Right? So this could still come here. It's upside, but we don't have any buy setup. So just wait for the buy setup. BNB, break the low, go back up, perfect. This is a buy setup. This is an active buy. So this can literally break out of the structure. This can totally go out of the structure. It doesn't necessarily have to go now, but that's a possibility. Dash. I don't think this is trying to go out. I think we're still in the consolidation. I can see this probably doing this and dropping here again. So we could be in this for a while here. So leave that. Dot. It's going up really fast now. So we wanted this to drop to the bottom here, and it did drop. It broke the low. Now it's going back up. Right? Where would it go to? Well, if you get a buy setup, because if you bought this, okay, but not the best one because it's low. But any consolidation here now would be a buy setup that could break the top. Right, so look for the buy setup. Same here. Wait for a buy setup. So now we have the question whether this correction is over or this is making another bigger correction for downside still. There and then downside. I think we wait. If it makes a flag here, if it makes a bigger flag here, we buy. There's no good sell setup. Link. A little more downside. We have to break this low, so some more down. Up. There's a buy setup here. And this. It's kind of going up, but there's no perfect buy setup. We don't have any salinity there. So let's wait. If this consolidates more for the upside, it could be a good buy. If it's consolidating for downside, we just let it go. Right? It could still be part of a bigger running flat. So we just leave it, let it go. So guys, managed to finish that. Once again, to all the YouTube viewers, we managed to stay to the end there. And you would like to have more, you would like to see us do all the currencies, all the pairs, all the other stocks that we haven't done here, please join. Trade safe, have a nice week ahead of you, and make money. Thank you. Bye.